Hello, and welcome back to the Maddie Sue Mindset. I'm your host, Madeline Rao, and for the past couple of weeks, I have been kind of thinking that it's so important to read. And I mean physical textbooks, physical books, audiobooks, maybe, just papers where people have expressed their thoughts, where people have written something down. And I used to be a really big reader. I've kind of toned that down because I don't have enough time anymore. But I have been getting back into reading. And I actually just finished a book literally last night. It's called Some Kind of Hate by Sarah Littman. And it goes with my point that you can read the room by reading. And what I mean by that is you can gain different perspectives. You can read the room by reading. And in my book, it's about this teenage boy named Declan. And he breaks his arm so he can't play his, favorite sport, which is baseball, anymore. And because he can't play this sport, he kind of goes down this road of just playing video games all the time. And that's what he starts to identify with instead of baseball. And he starts playing this video game, but a bunch of the other people who also play the video game are masked anti-Semitists. And by the end of the book, you actually learn that they're part of a militia for against anti-Semitism. But this kid Declan doesn't realize this, even though all of his friends and all of his family and his sister especially keep telling him that this is literally masked anti-Semitism and he is just spreading hate and it's not doing any good. And he's not seeing that because he's so caught up in what his friends are saying and the disappointment in himself from breaking his arm. He's so caught up in all of this that he's oblivious, totally oblivious to everybody else's perspective. A few days ago, my teacher showed us this TED Talk, my English teacher did, and it was why reading is good for you. And so the lady who was giving the TED Talk said that when you read, you're forced to look in a different perspective. You're forced to listen to what somebody else has to say. You're literally choosing to read the thoughts of other people. And I think that this is so beneficial to our minds because when we learn about other things they're not just in our little world. When we learn about the world, sorry for stuttering, we can grow so much more than if we hadn't. So in order to read the room, start by reading. And there's a whole entire psychology about reading people's body language. But in order to tell what a person is thinking, but I truly think that it's not just about a science. You know, reading somebody else and their thoughts and their feelings, it takes more than a numerical value or any kind of math or science. It takes a human to read another human. Me as a person, I truly believe that us as humans, we are almost built in. We have it built into our system, the ability to read other people. So don't lose this ability by becoming so focused in your own little world. Learn about different things, learn about the world so that you don't go crazy. Hear what other people have to say about anything so that you don't lose your mind. And also with reading comes, taking time for yourself. You have to sit down and you have to open your book, which is something that not a lot of people do today. But you need to, well, I'm not saying you need to, but I think it would be beneficial to us all if we could sit down and just listen to people, whether it's through speech or through book. Just sit down and listen to somebody, because that is a lost art. And I have my Bible with me today, and it says, "See, I'm sending an angel." And this is Exodus 23. "See, I'm sending an angel ahead of you to guard you along the way and bring you to the place I have prepared. Pay attention to him and listen to what he says. Do not rebel against him. He will not forgive your rebellion, since my name is in him. If you listen carefully to what he says and do all that I say, I will be an enemy to your enemies, and I will oppose those who oppose you." And later it says, "Worship the Lord your God, and his blessing will be on your food and water." So it says, I am sending an angel. Pay attention and listen. And I don't know if you know this or not, but I surely noticed this, but God sends signs in such strange ways. So you need to pay very close attention to everything around you and everyone around you in order to hear what God has to say. Listen to God by listening to the world, because God lives through the love in the world. Don't lose your ability to listen just because you're too stubborn to see the bigger picture. Don't lose your ability to be a kinder person just because you want to support your own thoughts. Just because you are stuck in a victim mentality. Your ego wants to believe that you're the victim, but what you need to realize is that this is just the way it is, and it's not anybody's fault, but it's still your job to move past it. So move past it. And pay attention to him and listen. And if you do listen, if you learn how to listen, God will forever be on your side. He already is on your side. God will be an enemy to your enemies. So learn to listen. And don't be like the character in the book. You know, don't get so caught up in this hateful mindset just because you are consumed with your ego and you can't see the bigger picture. Learn to look at the bigger picture. Force yourself to look in another perspective. And that's all I have for you today. So I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.